What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Coach Vic, certified land investor. Glad to be here with you. Today is a quick surprise live stream on sales on Facebook, Facebook Marketplace, and Facebook buy and sell group. So make sure you guys can hear me, see me okay. I know I'm going a little bit earlier than my normal time. I got an appointment I need to keep pretty soon. So yeah. Now, with that said, a lot of you guys may be experiencing some trouble selling your property. Now, here's the thing, and I'm a big believer in this. I do believe the best lead you can get will come from, in my opinion, at least currently, LandWatch. Before, it used to be Zillow. Before that, it was LandWatch again, but before they merged with Lands of America and those other and lands.com. But right now, I think LandWatch will give you the best leads. But however, LandWatch is very expensive. Like, to even get a cheap membership, you're paying a couple $100s a month. Now, if you have multiple properties, it's a no-brainer. Just get the damn LandWatch account. However, if you're brand new to this and you're like, well, I'm not sure if land is for me, or the property I'm selling is very cheap, and I haven't got that many yet because I'm still new to the game, then what I'm going to tell you can be very beneficial. All right. And one other thing, well, I'll say that for the end. So Facebook Marketplace is a trip, right? Facebook Marketplace and buy and sell group, they're both a two-edged sword. What do I mean by that? Well, on one side, you're able to get your ad in front of a lot of people. I mean, like thousands or hundreds and hundreds of people are going to see your ad and they're going to actually inquire about it. The other part, the bad side, this is the part of the double-edged sword. Most are not going to be serious buyers. Most, not all, but most. And because of how Facebook is made and, the platform that it is, it's not always easy to kind of keep the serious away from the non-serious. Now, there's some things that you can do for sure, but a lot of mistakes that are had is because people don't know how to basically speak to the serious people out there. And so you're getting a lot of interest, which is cool, but it's not necessarily the good interest. All right, so with that said, let's kind of jump into it. There's a few things that I want to talk about. First things first, when you are using Facebook Marketplace, make sure before, and I guess now they have this new feature, and Facebook is always changing things up. You always add in a few buy and sell groups that are local to the land that you're selling. So if you're buying and selling land in Wyoming, or let's say Butte, Montana, you should be in a couple of Butte, Montana buy and sell groups. Now, not every group will allow people in who don't live in the area, but most don't care. Some are starting to understand, like, oh, there's some like people who are selling land and property on Facebook. We definitely want to be more welcoming to them as well. But others are like, they're trying to get rid of spam and things like that. So just make sure that if they have screening questions, you answer the screening questions and all that so you can get in. But the point is this, you want to be in those buy and sell groups. It makes your ads a lot more, just that much more powerful, right? Because I think, I can't say this for sure, but I really do think Facebook will actually take the buy and sell groups that you're promoting in and use that as a part of their algorithm to promote their regular marketplace stuff. Again, this unfounded speculation on my part, but I really think that's what's happening, because when I use Facebook Marketplace without the buy and sell groups, I don't feel my ads have as much punch as they do when I am in the buy and sell groups. So that's just one thing to think. Now, once you are in those groups, the more you can be in that are relevant to what you're selling land, the better. Now, it doesn't have to be a land buy and sell group. It can just be a regular buy and sell group, buy, sell, trade, whatever it is. But as long as you can tell it's not just people selling like a certain item only, you should be in that group, right? If it's a general buy, sell, trade group, be in that group. If they're like, hey, this is only for cars, or this is only for baby items or things like that, yeah, don't waste anybody's time. Come on, let's be smarter than that. All right. So again, first thing, be in the buy and sell groups or buy and sell groups. They will, what I'm thinking, will promote, boost your ads. Next, and this is very important, your ads got to tell a bit of a story. Okay. Meaning, yes, you got to give them the basic information. And as you know, I always say, how much, where is it? Is this a good deal? And what can I do with the property? Those four things need to be accounted for. Absolutely. But you need to tell a bit of a story about why would people want to buy property here. Now, if you're in the buy and sell groups, people already kind of understand because they live there, they know the area, and that's good too. But if not, then you want to say, hey, this area is great for land for this reason. You can go hunting here. You can do this here. It's recreational. You can build a house. You can put your mobile home, blah, 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 blah. You want to tell a bit of a story of why and how good they're going to feel about buying that property and what you can do with it. Now, the story is it's got to be like this novel, 1, 2, 3 sentences about, hey, you're tired of paying rent here. And if you know anything about the area, maybe you can use some local demographic like numbers like average rent prices or something like that. You're tired of paying $900 per month. Why not use that rent money to actually buy property? When you have property in, whatever location you're selling in, now you get to actually have the ability to own a piece of America, and you can do what you want with it because, the restrictions in this area or the subdivision are blank. You fill in the blank, right? So that's kind of what I mean by sell a story. Unlike Zillow and LandWatch, you have more space and more area to tell the story. So if you really want to get elaborate with your story and really, pull people in, you can do that. I'm just not sure if it's going to be worth your time. It could be. That's something you're going to have to test. I have not tested it, but I haven't had to because I'm getting enough interest with the very basics of how much, where is it, is this a good deal, and what can I do with it? All right, so do that. Buy and sell groups, and then tell a bit of a story. All right, now also, this is very important. I alluded to a few minutes ago that you definitely want to make sure that you separate or, you kind of weed out people who are less serious and those who are more serious. Now, sometimes people are just as serious, but they don't know much about the property you're selling. So they got to ask a couple of questions that you feel like tedious. So this is what I always recommend. In the story you are weaving, or you can put it into how much, where is it, is this a good deal and what can I do with it? Add in some details that are most commonly asked. A big one is how big is the lot? What are the dimensions of the lot? So how big is like acres, not necessarily square footage, but acres. What are the dimensions? So, 150 by 100 or something, right? Something like that. Add in like the common questions. Can I put a mobile home or trailer on it? Add that information in there. Again, if you can weave this into your story, that could be good. The only thing that may be a downside with that is not everybody likes to read. Not everybody is the sharpest tool in the shed. So if you kind of quote unquote hide that information, you may still be answering those questions, even though it's in your ad. But if you do a good job of making that quote unquote story, it's going to make it more engaging. People are going to read it and they're going to be more excited to talk to you about the property. So that's the thing. We don't just want any leads to come in, right? This is why we want to be very specific with what we say and how we say it. But we want leads to be excited. We want them to be warm or hot leads, meaning they are more likely to buy than anything else. Does that make sense? All right, so let's recap. Buy and sell groups. Make sure you're in as many as you can be that's in your groups. Let's make sure your ads tell a story. Let's make sure we give them basic info about the lot and frequently ask questions about the lot so they don't have to keep bugging you about it. And there's that. Now, what's next when you're using Facebook Marketplace and buy and sell groups and all that? You need good pictures. Does they have to be pictures of the actual lot like you were there physically? No, not at all. I've never been to any of the lots I've ever sold. Never, 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 never. Now, if I did have somebody go out there and take pictures for me, I definitely want to use those. I want to lead with my best foot forward. However, especially when you're having cheaper lots, $5,000 asking price, $10,000 asking price, screenshots of the actual like plat map or the county GIS site, totally fine. Totally fine. Sure, again, it's not ideal, but it works. And I've sold many properties on Facebook Marketplace doing that. But if you can get something good, especially even if you're not taking a picture yourself, go to Google, go Google Maps, Google Earth, take some Street View photos if Street View is available. Google Earth, change the camera location, so to speak. If you're familiar with 3D modeling software, 3D games, you can move the camera so you can see different angles of the 3D scene. Well, that's how Google Earth works. You can kind of see that, and you can kind of see different landmarks and stuff as you zoom in and out of the area in Google Earth. And you can not just see the pinpoint or the corners of your lot, but like, hey, there's a lake not too far away. You can kind of see that if you angle things just right. Is there, some other neat thing to talk about or to be about? You can kind of angle that if you can see it just right. So good picture. So let's recap again. Buy and sell groups, good picture. Oops, I'm sorry. Tell a bit of a story. Within that story, if possible, give them basic facts that they need. And if possible, weave it into there. And facts as an FACTS and facts FAQ, frequently asked questions so they don't keep bugging you about stuff. Because the reason why I'm gonna go into momentarily, you're gonna see why I'm saying this is very important. And finally, good pictures, right? You don't need anything fancy if you're just selling a cheaper lot, but the more expensive you are, the better pictures need to be. And there's that. Oh, one last thing I should say. When you're putting up your ad, make sure you're looking, or you understand if you want to do buyer, owner financing, or AKA a terms agreement. If you do, know that right away. Now, what I always advocate is a cash price, it's this price or best offer. Or if you want to do seller financing, this is the price. So for example, let's just say you have a property and you don't mind selling it for 13,000 cash or best offer, right? So I mean, maybe you'll get an offer for 12 or 11 or 10 and you're like, I'm good with that, it's cash. But if you want to get, if someone wants to pay for owner financing, you're like, I need to get at least 15,000, think of it as interest, think of it as like a convenience fee, whatever, however you want to put it, but know that in mind. Also, people are they're going to ask you, what do you want for a down payment? What do you want for monthly? Now, I often would be like, because if I'm not looking for terms, I'm like, I'll let them tell me what they're willing to do. But that's never a good strategy, because you don't want the prospect in control of the negotiation. You don't want the prospect in control of anything in the situation. Here's the thing to also remember. They not only will they take your lead, but like, if you allow them to negotiate and things like that before you let them know that, hey, there's a terms price and this is what I had in mind, they're going to negotiate down a price and then think they can pay terms on that. So going back to the example of like, you really wanted 15K for a lot if they do terms, 13,000 or best offer for cash. And if you advertise that $13,000 price and like, oh, 13,000, well, would you take 10? And you're thinking, oh, okay, yeah, a $10,000 cash offer. Yeah, I'll take it. That's if it's in the range. But they're thinking $10,000 period, and I can give you $2,000 now and pay you like $300 a month. You're like, wait, whoa. You don't want to have to go through that. So a lot of times they will ask you, is there owner financing? Say, yes, this is what I'm looking for. 15,000, and this is the down payment and this is the monthly payment. Now, what actually works really well, instead of saying what the total price would be like the down and the monthly for X amount of months. That way, if you do the math, yes, it'll still equal the 15,000 you wanted for terms, but it sounds more palatable, right? People don't think like, well, why, you don't got to explain like the reason why I can do terms is because it's mine. And this is more of a convenience for you, less for me. I want the cash. You don't have the cash. I still want to work with you. So I'm figuring out a way to make it worth my while to go down this route. But yeah, you got to have that ready. I know there's a side note, a long side note. And one last thing, put that in the ad. Let's put an ad like, 13,000 or best offer, whatever your price is. If your owner financing is available, this much down, this much a month for this many months. Just put it, one little line, boom. Now, the reason why we have those things in there with the frequently asked questions and the pictures and everything, because it's going to eliminate a lot of the tire kickers. Now, again, not everybody that talks to you and doesn't buy the tire kicker is that it's more that they're curious. Like, okay, I'm interested, but I don't know much about this property. I need to find out more before I actually invest more time, maybe having to make calls to the county to look things up or visiting the property itself and things like that. So you want to have that ready, because this is what's going to happen a lot. You have your thing up, you have your good pictures, you have a good story. It's a good ad, right? Good price, everything else. You go and you're getting some hits and your Facebook Messenger is blowing up. And, if you've ever bought anything on Facebook Marketplace, like they have some easy, like quick reply buttons for the buyer and the seller. And one is like, hey, I'm interested. It is available, right? It's a quick button press, boom, boom, boom. So you're gonna get a lot of that. And if you're not available, or excuse me, if they're in, I just say, if it's still available, and of course, if it's still available, that's why you have it listed. There's a million things that they're going to ask you. But here's the kicker: not everybody's going to see your reply. Not everybody's going to see your reply. So having a lot of those questions answered beforehand would definitely help you get rid of those people who are interested, but they don't know enough to really be interested, right? They say they're interested because they press the button, not because they're truly interested. They're more curious. So if we can answer a lot of those questions up front and make it in a good and entertaining way, you're going to get a lot of people who would be the right person excited about the property, and those who just can't afford it or whatever, not excited. Of course, you got flexibility on, you know, how you present things and how you phrase things and things like that. But in general, you want to answer a lot of those tedious questions up front. Another thing that you can do, I don't know, I'm sure you can do this on iOS, but I know on Android, you're able to actually have the common response and have it pinned in your clipboard. So that way you can just boom, boom, hit the chat area, hit the thing, boom, boom, you're all good, right? That's what you want to do. Make sure that you have it right there so you're not always typing in yes. Now, what do I like to say is that, hey, is it interested? You know, is it available? Stuff like that. I always say, yes, it's available. Are you local to the property to check it out in person? Why do I ask that? Well, number one, a lot of people on Facebook, they're from all over the world. They may be looking at Texas because they want to move there, or they may be looking at Arizona because they have cousins there, or they may want to be looking at Nevada because you know, they're about to go on vacation there, something like that, right? They see something while they're excited, while they're looking something up, and they're like, "Ooh, this seems interesting. I was just going to visit, or I was just going to do this, but maybe I can own property there." As you start to come, as they start to hit you up, and you reply, you know, you don't know who's serious. You don't know who's ready to go. That's why you have that message that was like ready, pinned on your clipboard, ready to just be, you know, copy paste it without you having to redo it. And because people may be looking from different areas of the country to the thing, or to your ad, now you know, hey, if they don't live in the area, they're not going to buy. You know, most people, the vast majority of people, they don't buy in areas they don't live in, they don't personally know. That's why it's very important to ask, hey, are you local to the property? Also, if they're not local, even they live there, but let's say they're, you know, they're away for work or they're on vacation or whatever it is. If you know they're not going to buy it sight unseen, and you know they're not going to see the property anytime soon, well, there's no time to waste on finding people, or excuse me, talking to people who aren't going to buy right away, right? There will be a lot of people hitting you up. Focus those who are more serious, who are more ready to look at the property now than those who are not, because they're far away from the property, right? There's nothing more deflating than like you're having great conversation. They seem to have the money. They seem to understand, okay, yeah, this is cool. And they're like, all right, so when do you think you can see it? Oh, well, I don't live in the state. I plan to be there next month, you know, so if you still have it, I'm like, so what's the point of all that? That's why the first thing I ask, are you local to the property? Now, a lot of times you will get, yes, I'm local, I can see it, you know, stuff like that. Like, great. When are you planning to see it? Because some people, they're old school. They think you're going to be there. You got to show it to them like a realtor. I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. I'd always keep it real with them. I'm like, look, I live out of state, right? So that means you can go see it every time or anytime you want. I know you can't take it with you. It ain't like a house where they can break into it or anything like that. It's just a plot of dirt. So yeah, go look. Nothing like boots on the ground. Check it out. And that's what most people are like, oh, okay, and they're comfortable with that. I also put that in my ads as well, so I don't have to, you know, keep telling them that. Some people don't remember that or don't listen or whatever. And then every now and then when you have somebody that'll say, I already did look at it, I'm like, perfect. Then you know they're hot. So you mark them in your CRM or whatever you use to keep your lead straight and be like, boom, this person's ready. Now it's just a matter if this is the right fit for them. It has the right price, anything else that, you know, everything's going to work, right? Maybe they got to do a little due diligence. They saw the area, they liked it, like, okay, I got to make sure I can put my mobile home on it, or I got to call the county for some reason or the other. It's just whatever it is. Yeah. Sorry, got a little distracted because I should be leaving for my appointment pretty soon. So let's wrap this up. Anyways, once you're there and you have someone that saw it or whether they're supposed to see it or whatever it is, you got to follow up with them. That's going to be the key. You got to be aggressively following up. What do I mean by that? Every day, every other day. Hey, you said you're going to take a look at it. Did you look at it? Or, hey, you said you were thinking about calling the county. Did you call? Here's the number to call. You know, I called for you. This is what they said. Things like that. That way you move them along. Because it's not necessarily about getting a yes. It's about getting a buying decision, either a yes or a no. You don't want to be left in limbo. You don't want to be in a position where you're like, well, do they want to buy or not? And you have other people coming in, you're like, well, okay, this person's offer is not as strong, but they said they're going to buy, and you don't know, you want to be clear, right? Make sure you're very clear on that. Now, when you do this properly, right, you're in buy and sell groups, you know, tell business stories, your ad is pretty good, it's eye-catching or whatever. You give some details that you don't have to, keep answering, like how big is it, the dimensions, can you put a mobile home on it, and other, commonly asked restriction questions. You got some good pictures. You have your term price. You're ready to respond when people hit you up. You're going to get a lot of interest. Now, this is what I recommend. Number one, always, if possible, reply as soon as you can. Strike while the iron's hot. It's not always possible. But if you set time aside to get back leads and they call or hit you up during that time, do that. Second, make sure that you're keeping track of all your leads. If you try to keep track on Facebook Messenger, you're going to be lost. You're going to get confused. You're going to forget who said what, and you have to go through manually. And then sometimes it's hard to find the messages that you're looking for, especially on the mobile app. So you're going to need something outside of Facebook to keep track of everybody, right? The best way to do that, in my opinion, is to get phone numbers. If they're not willing to give you your phone number or give you their phone number or call you, then they probably weren't going to buy from you anyways, because you're going to need their phone number at some point. You're going to need that to call them up. You're going to need to talk details about the deal. You're going to need that for your buyer's agreement, your contract. Well, you don't need the phone call for that. But, you want to start, getting in a more direct communication method like texting or a phone call. And they don't want to do that. They ain't gonna mess with you. They ain't gonna mess with you. What other things do I recommend? Oh, have patience, right? You're going to be able, a lot of people are going to be asking questions. You're going to do your best to curtail a lot of the tire kickers, but, not everybody's, again, not the sharpest tool in the shed. So people that have no business hitting you up will still hit you up. It's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. In fact, sometimes that could be a good thing, not for the actual land sales, but for your own psyche, understanding like, hey, I do have something valuable. I do have something people want. I know the price is within reason. Otherwise, people wouldn't talk to me, right? You have a tiny property for $1 million. Ain't nobody's going to hit you up for that, even to make fun of you. But if you're in the price range, people are, hey, is it available? I'm kind of interested, right? And sometimes you're not getting responses from the other platforms or any leads from other platforms. It can make you make rash and reckless decisions. But when you see you're getting leads, even if they're not the best leads, it gets calms you down. At least it does for me. For my like, you know what? I do got something good. Just gotta be patient. Play the game. You can also use that feedback as, do I need to lower the price? Do I have a terms price? And if I do, is it a good one? Is it something that people can reach for? Is there anything else about the property people keep asking? And I keep saying, I don't know. And I'm referring them to do their own due diligence. Maybe I should look that up so I can have that answer ready and kind of get through things faster, right? So having all these different leads can be annoying. And all that, but it could be good. Now, as I said, my favorite lead source is LandWatch, and you pay dearly for that. A lot of leads that you will get from Facebook Marketplace are kind of weak, right? You'll reply to a message, they don't even see the damn reply, or they never have money in the first place, or you've been here long enough, you know what I'm talking about. But with that said, you do this right, you will get some sales. Even though my favorite leads from LandWatch, some of my repeat buyers came from Facebook Marketplace. So, that's why I never, even though I get frustrated with the platform, I get frustrated with how things work. There are ways that, I don't always do the right things to keep my frustrations down. So I have myself to blame sometimes. And one last thing that you can do, and this is good, you can actually boost a post, right? Pay $3-4 a day. So you might end up spending $10 total, $12 total, whatever it is. And now Facebook will send it to more people. Now, the only thing about boosting is that they don't have a really dialed in target demographic for you, that they'll put it in front of more people that will fit that profile. It's just put it in front of more people, not necessarily the ones that will actually buy. If you did your own Facebook ad, which is different than putting up a marketplace listing, you can actually hone in on a certain type of buyer. Granted, you got to do a special category ad because it's real estate, and they're like, make sure that everything is equal opportunity. But you have that dialed in, not only will you get a lot of leads in, but you'll be getting leads that you can kind of cultivate in the long term. So they may not buy property A, but you keep communicating with them, emailing them, etc., making sure that they're glad to be on your email list or your text list or whatever, and you keep giving them value, not just selling them crap. They'll stay, and then by the time you have property, E or F or G, they're like, all right, we've been talking long enough. I need to finally buy some from you. I've been seeing all these deals I've been missing out on, stuff like that. All right. With that said, there's a lot more to marketing and advertising your land online. You know, like I said, you need to have a good bit of a story in your ad. Like, well, how do you do that? Or what makes up a good picture for your listing? And what type of frequently asked questions should you have in your listings? And how do you, you know, phrase it and put in all that? And, you know, what type of ads should you do when you're doing Facebook Marketplace? And how do you know if it's a good group or not? There's a lot of questions that I just don't have the time to go into because I have this appointment. But if you know you're having a tough time selling and you're selling property in like 6, 8, 10 months and you're, you know, for pennies and you're not getting the money you want and it's taking forever, you probably need my help. Hit me up. I'll be glad to help you out. You know what I do. I got a great land investing group. We're all out here making money, helping each other make money. We're funding deals for each other. We got a couple of funders on board looking to help people within my group because they know if they're following my training, they're going to have a good property to invest in. So yeah, if you want all that, hit me up. You know how to reach me. Book a time with me on my calendar. We can have a great chat. I can find out more about you more about me. And if what I have to offer fits with your goals, you'll be a fool not to take it. Like, why would you not want to make more money this year? All right. Other than that, sorry for the rush notice. Hopefully you guys are good. It's Coach Vic signing out. Peace out.